Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It is Marvin speaking. We're going to get into a few people that watched the Jay Slater documentary and had a few questions. And some of these people I've never even heard of before, but it's just interesting in what they've said after looking at the documentaries and questions to the parents of Jay.
Hello everyone, a little bit off topic, but we've just watched the Jay Slater documentary and we're a bit confused about some of it. At the start, when his mum steps off the plane, she says that she gets a text message sent to her, basically saying that her son owes money, and she can pretty much say goodbye to him. Later on then, the son, Jay, then messages Lucy and says that, he has a phone call with her, and Lucy reports to the police that he said that he was up the top of a mountain and he was fearful that he might die. And then you got the message to the other friend where he says, I'm not going to make it.
Well, just the first message alone tells me that there's something seriously wrong. If I got off a plane and and I got a message about a family member, that graphic, you're going to think something seriously wrong. Even Debbie, to mention it, basically in the film documentary that she done, tells me that it still freaks her out in what she actually heard. And everybody knows who's been following the Jay Slater case have speculated there was a lot more to that than that just being a troll.
But at the end of the documentary, his death is ruled as accidental, and the family seem to be okay with that. We're just a bit confused because having got that message when she stepped off the plane, his mum, about his son owed a lot of money and he's pretty much going to die, along with what Lucy said to the police, which was never brought up again, and the message to the other friend that he's not going to make it. I don't understand how that death can be ruled as accidental. Please fill me in if you know. Cheers.
I think a lot of people were very confused in why was it basically signed off as an accident when there's so many unanswered questions. And I think it bemused us all. I think it did pay off a lot of us who's been on this case since day one, a lot of the streamliners who's followed me through the Jay Slater case, as well as myself and Ali Harris as well. I think it was bizarre. I think it left a really sort of sour taste in my mouth in what the hell's going on here. And like I said, people who haven't looked into this case that deeply are confused as well. Move on to Haley comments some of the unanswered questions. Let's get straight into this.
A couple of things that we found out during Jay Slater's inquest today that tell you that something happened to Jay that wasn't just an accident. First of all, some of the main witnesses such as Ayub, Rocky, Lucy and Brad and Brandon didn't.
Surely for a coroner and a family, they must have thought, Jesus, what the hell is going on? Someone obviously put the word out that Lucy has to say something. Ayub has to come out and say something, whether it's on audio, whether it's on video, whether they come in person. Brad has to be there. Someone has to be in it. And obviously Brad don't live that far from Preston. So it's said because he lives up north somewhere. That was bizarre to me. Rocky not turning up. Ayub having a solicitor. Lucy was afraid to come because of everybody talking about the case. But she came out earlier to talk to the national news. That didn't make sense to me, to be honest with you.
Show up and are even being hunted by police to give their statements. Now, secondly, Jay, on the day before he went missing, on the evening, tried to take out 2 big withdrawal payments from his bank. One for €360 and one for €160. Both were declined. It was as if he was trying to get money to someone. We also know that a number that they don't know who it belongs to messaged Jay saying, get that 2-ton for me. Meaning that Jay likely did owe someone some money. Most telling, though, is a message that Jay sent on 2:39 a.m. from his phone to someone who we don't know exactly who it was to, that said, they've got me marked. And what could those words possibly mean? Marked for death? Marked for beats? Jay knew he was in danger, and he knew something was going to happen, and it did.
I think that was a Haley comment. Do go and comment to basically subscribe to Comment and Crime there on TikTok. But like I said, I believed that something happened to Jay after that 12 minutes past 101 he left the nightclub. And like I said, we're not 100% where basically which sort of a nightclub he commanded. Yes, they say it's Papa Guy's, but it could have been anywhere that basically photo and timestamp put on there. You can't just genuinely just pick up what we're just being told as gospel, because there's so many lies in this case. And like I said, when you go through all the suspicious activity of people not turning up to court the first time round, or answering letters or summons, it just shows you what they really must have thought of Jay and how they're so scared to come to court just in case they ask questions that they may fumble over or may be caught out by something. And the public have got a sharp eye to what was going on in this case. And this is why we're all still a little bit confused and still a little bit sad that we've never really been told the whole truth, especially by the friends. Going to move on to Joey and Josh. And like I said, at first, I didn't think they were quite well versed with the case, but they are now, to be honest with you, because I think they've really sort of diagnosed this case, should I say.
That message Debbie Duncan received upon landing in Tenerife, saying something along the lines of, "You're not going to see your son again. He owes us a lot of money."
Basically saying that he had passed away. This is very, very much before we'd even suspected that he might have passed away. I mean, at this point, bearing in mind it's 2 days into the story and the search, we're looking to find him.
I remember thinking, like, this fella's on a sesh.
Obviously, and by the time Debbie got there, I think Jay was long gone, to be honest with you. And it is said basically he could have gone as early as the Saturday morning. A lot of people have said that at the end of the day, because like I said, we don't really have the proper timestamp, even though Debbie said she did talk to Jay. You just don't know what to believe. And don't forget, she is the one that accepted it was a accident and have not really asked anyone to basically answer the unanswered questions that people are still worried about in this case, which basically clearly stands out, clearly.
Mate, like, he's on a bender, and people are putting up stuff on the internet about him going missing, but he's probably just in some apartment somewhere talking about fights that he had in high school and in a kitchen somewhere and whatever. It was almost a bit like, they're gonna find him. I think as the days go on, you start to realise, like, okay, no, like, this is really serious. Someone's missing. He may never come home. The point we're trying to make is at that point that Debbie Duncan receives a WhatsApp, how had they got a number?
So this is the thing. I actually tried to come up with my own theory on this. News of his disappearance was spread on social media very, very quickly. I know for a fact.
Someone says in the chat her number was on an official Facebook group that Rachel made and was the admin of. Still, it's just still odd someone would say that and they weren't well versed with the case. I still find it very strange that quickly.
That his friends had put it onto social media, bearing in mind the Snapchats. Jay had been in trouble fairly, within the recent years before he went to Tenerife.
He had people that disliked him.
He'd been in trouble. He'd been in a very serious incident in which he got punished for in court. And so I think there were people that disliked him, and therefore they would have been able to find his mum's number because, again, his mum is connected to him. It's a small circle. It's a small area. People know each other. And some little troll is trying to scare the mum.
Maybe from the Tom Hilton incident or something like that. I understand someone could have sent that message. At the same time, it's the fact that, as far as we know, like, we look at the pages that were set up, the GoFundMe, stuff like that, Debbie Duncan's number was never on there. It wasn't accessible. It wasn't available. Also, you would think that there would be some sort of way to track the message if it was a WhatsApp message. You just said from an unknown phone.
Unknown source. The problem with that, obviously, there was a number on there, but that, it could be tracked, but I don't think it was, to be honest with you. Even though it says that basically forensics did look into, police did look into basically Jay's phone And his mum said there weren't that many photos on there of his holiday, which was quite bizarre. But I do think a lot of things were. I do think that a lot of things were deleted off Jay's phone, and I do honestly believe that someone else was controlling his phone. Somebody else in the chat says her number was on the official Facebook group that Rachel made, and was the admin of this. I said this, and all the TikTok certains that a year late to the party trying to tell me different. It was defo the girl. I've still got the group on the Facebook too. There's footage of being commented on posts, and that I've never even seen on here either. Interesting stuff. Rachel had to post the group at one point telling everyone to stop messaging Debbie's phone and stop ringing her. Then she took the number off the page. Why didn't the lady give him a lift, or at least tell him he was going the wrong way? I'll tell you that, Lily Williams, because I don't think he was basically ever there, to be honest with you. That's one of the reasons why I think that basically, I think that was a lie. And I feel he was covering for someone. I really do think that. But interesting about Rachel numbers being on the Facebook group. Can any of the other streamliners enlighten me on that? Was it? Because like I said, I wasn't basically, I'm not a Facebook person, but I know a lot of information did come off Facebook. Give me 1 second, people. Just grab my phone. Because like I said, interesting stuff, what you pick up, especially on the early days of this case as well. Excellently. So let me know your thoughts on what they said. But like I said, I think that early message was kind of crucial. I think it was, for me, knowing this involved drugs as well, and gangs, I think there was more to that message than meets the eye, and I think Debbie knows it. We move on to the final person talking about the Jay Slater case. And what's your thoughts on it, guys? Let's listen to this guy.
I want to say, yeah, rest in peace, Jay Slater, 2024, died in Tenerife. Yeah, in an unfortunate accident, apparently. Now, I've just watched the Channel 4 documentary. We've got Debbie saying that social media destroyed the case. Yeah, well, I don't know what she expected, to be honest, because it was such a big story that people are going to talk about it, and it's as simple as ABC. Yeah, I personally believe, yeah, he could have been pushed, right? And although people say I'm wrong, you know, I'm right, whatever, the fact is, the pathologist said in that documentary, a push mark would not be seen. So the only evidence they're going off is the friends' text messages and the voice notes.
Yeah, they believe them. They believe them. Even when these friends weren't gonna attend court. If Debbie said, look, we'll close it here, the coroner would have done, to be honest with you, Dr. Adderley would have closed it. It's only because Debbie wanted more answers on this case, just to confirm a few things, which is fair enough.
And then last videos that he sent on Snapchat, been falling down the hill, this, that, and the other. They're only going on that. So there is a possibility he could have been pushed. So, yeah, although I respect Debbie and I don't want this to hurt her in any way, and the family and the friends, I've got to say what I've got to say, you know. People will talk. I just don't.
The problem is, if you pay into a GoFund as well, like people that have, at the end of the day, she's reaching out for the public to help. So the public are going to talk about this case, you know, more than what they did, because they put into something where they want answers. And if the public aren't getting those answers, even though Debbie didn't originally set up those GoFundMe, she did accept the money and eventually take it on.
I think if there's any truth to it being an accident, I think after stealing this Rolex, I think things went badly wrong. You've got drink and drugs involved. You've got...
You said it in one, drinks and drugs. I don't think a watch was involved, personally. I just think that was a swerve just to basically put us off track. I truly believe that. But I believe drugs and alcohol were massive, and I believe that Jay was spiked as well, and this is why he was taken so easily and disposed of.
Nightclub,
which is sad to say.
You know, this big festival where they're selling it all. You know, I just don't believe that it was an accident. People can fucking disagree, people can say what they want, but let me know in the comments what you think. But like I say, this woman, you know, you can tell she's sincere, you can tell she's got nothing to do with it. It's just a unfortunate accident.
The bottom line is, he got in with the wrong crowd. His friends should be exposed about it at the end of the day, because these people could do this and do this to someone else. Yes, the coroner's report says it was an accident, but what people are actually saying about the case, about the friends, is very, very uncomfortable. And like I said, it's been flagged by the public, it's been flagged by many slews, Facebook, TikTok, or any other channel as well, that have brought these questions up, which makes them feel uncomfortable that it wasn't just an accident. I don't think it sits right with a lot of people. And I think if you had a vote, I think it would be maybe 79% agree it wasn't an accident and 21% was. And this is why people are still talking about it. Even though it has closed down, you still got to look at the people involved, because they were supposed to be watching out for Jay, which they never did. And this is why it's always going to be a topic of conversation. Let me know your thoughts, people, and don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment. Appreciate you all. Thank you.